The night cycle on station Kepler-7 never changed. The same low hum of fans. The same dim corridor lights. The same pulse of power lines behind every wall. Most species on board called it sterile, cold, lifeless. But in Sector D7, the human quarters, that was the point. No mood lighting. No scent fog. No comfort fields tuned to your heartbeat. Just a bed. A desk. A narrow window, facing a nebula that never moved. Other races called it bleak. Humans called it normal, and on deep space. Stations light years from Earth. Normal was a luxury. Nora Vex worked xenobiology. Her shift had run 14 hours straight. Blood samples. Tissue scans. Radiation charts. Endless data with no answers. Out here, humanity had a reputation. They called us Death Worlders. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us daily. We breathed air that was 21% poison and called it fresh. We swam in water that would crush a lesser species and called it recreation. We took hits that would shatter bone. And we stood back up. We did not stop. That was why the galaxy feared us. Not for claws. Not for fangs. For endurance. But tonight, Nora did not feel like a legend. She felt hollow, overworked, homesick for a sky that was not made of steel. She dragged herself back to her quarters, keyed the door, and collapsed onto the bunk. Boots still on. Jacket still zipped. She was asleep before her head hit the pillow, and in her exhaustion, she made one mistake. She forgot to seal the door. The reactor drill hit it. 300 station time. Alarm screamed. Bulkheads slammed shut. Crew ran in every direction. In the chaos, a child was lost. His name was Kiro, a Karax cub. 6 months old by human counting. To a human. He looked like a lion cub crossed with a panther. If that cub weighed 80 pounds and had eyes like liquid gold to his own people, he was a prince of apex predators. Adult Karax stood over 9 feet tall. Their muscles were dense enough to bend steel plating. Their claws could carve through hull alloy. Their roar could rupture organs at close range. But Kiro was not an adult. His claws were still soft. His roar was a squeak. His fur was the kind that made you want to bury your face in it. He was terrified. The station was a maze of metal and fear. Every corridor smelled wrong. Every sound was a threat. He called for his pride, but his voice was lost in the clacks, and not Karox, not familiar. But it was warm, steady, like a heartbeat you could trust. He followed it. It led him through service tunnels and maintenance shafts. Away from the panic, toward the one place every species on Kepler-7 avoided. Sector D7, the human sector, his mother had warned him. Humans are dangerous. They do not fear death. They do not fear pain. They walk into fire and call it engineering. But Kiro was 6 months old, and he was alone. Instinct beat training. He found a door that was open, just a crack. He slipped inside. The room was dark, quiet, safe. On the bed, a human slept. No weapons on the walls. No guards at the door. Just slow, even breathing. Kiro's instincts screamed at him to run. This was a Death Worlder. A creature that wrestled gravity for fun, but the warmth coming off her was like a sun. He crept closer. The bed was high, but he was Karax. Even as a cub, he could leap. He landed without a sound. The mattress dipped under his weight. He circled once, twice, then he pressed himself against her side, right where her heart beat strongest. And for the first time since the alarm started, Kiro Purred. It was not the ground-shaking rumble of an adult. It was small, broken, but it was there. Nora shifted in her sleep. A hand moved without thought. Driven by something older than language, her fingers slid into thick, soft fur. Kiro froze, every muscle locked. This was it. The moment the stories warned about, the human would wake. She would see a predator in her bed. She would scream. She would strike, but Nora did not wake. She made a small sound in her throat, Almost a sigh, her fingers found the spot behind his ears and scratched. Slow, sure, like she had done it 1,000 times. Kiro's eyes went wide in the dark. No one had ever touched him like that. Not even his own pride. Karax did not coddle their young. They trained them. But this alien, this human, was gentle. His purr grew stronger. It vibrated the frame of the bunk. He closed his eyes, and he slept. The dawn cycle hit with a soft chime. Station lights rose from 10% to 40%. Nora groaned and reached to kill her alarm. Her hand did not find the panel. It found fur, warm, living. Her eyes flew open. On her pillow, a Karax cub was curled up like a house cat. His tail was wrapped around her arm. One massive paw rested on her chest, claws carefully sheathed. Nora's heart stopped. Then it slammed against her ribs. She knew the laws. Every human on station was briefed. The Karax were a proud species, fiercely protective of their young. To touch a cub without permission was an act of war. To have a cub in your quarters, uninvited, was a death sentence. Kiro's eyes opened. Slitted gold, ancient, predatory, he looked right into her soul. Nora did not breathe, did not move. Then Kiro did something no Karax adult would ever do to a stranger. He sure it. It was a soft, questioning sound. A cub's word for safe. Nora's terror cracked. "Hey, little one," she whispered, her voice shaking. "How did you get in here? Your mom must be losing her mind." Kiro pushed his head into her palm. Demanding more scratches, the purr started again. Deep enough to rattle the water in her cup on the desk, Nora let out a breath that was half laugh, half sob. "We need to find your pride," she said. "Okay. They are probably scared." Kiro ignored her. He climbed into her lap, all 80 pounds of him, and collapsed like he owned the place. She could not call security. Karax and humans had a treaty, but it was thin. One wrong move, and it would be blood. So she did the only thing she could. She worked, she pulled up. Her data pad with one hand. With the other, she kept it on Kiro's back, stroking slowly. He was not a prisoner. He was not a threat. He was just scared. And Nora Vex, exhausted human from a death world called Earth, could not let a child be scared alone. It took them 20 minutes to find him, Karax. Patrols moved like shadows through the station, silent, deadly. When the scanner pinged his biosignature in human quarters, the entire deck went quiet. The matriarch came herself. She was 9 feet. For inches of armored muscle and restrained fury, her fur was marked with the scars of 100 battles. Her eyes were molten gold. When she walked, the deck plates vibrated. Humans stepped aside. Other species fled. No one stood between a Karax matriarch, her cub. The door to Nora's quarters slid open. The matriarch was ready for a slaughter. She expected to find her son caged, drugged, dissected. She expected to smell fear and blood. Instead, she smelled calm. Her son was asleep on a human's lap. Purring so loud it was audible in the hallway, and the human was working. One hand typing data on a pad, the other resting on Kiro's spine, thumb moving in slow protective circles. No chains, no sedatives, no weapons, just cared. The matriarch froze in the doorway. Nora looked up. Her face went white. But she did not stop stroking Kiro. She did not pull away. He was scared, Nora said. Her voice was quiet, but it did not shake. He came in. I kept him safe. Matriarch stepped into the room. Each footstep was a tremor. She scanned her son. No wounds, no stress markers. His scent was pure contentment. Trust, something that Karax did not give easily. Something they never gave to outsiders. She looked at Nora. Really looked. This human was small. Fragile by Karax standards. She could be broken with one hand. Yet she had not. She had chosen to protect instead of dominate. Humans are strange creatures, the matriarch said at last. Her voice was like gravel in a landslide. Nora gave a tired tiny smile. We have been told. The matriarch moved closer. She watched the human's hand. There was no ownership in the touch. No claim. Only comfort. Her expression changed. It did not soften. Karak's did not soften. But the edge of violence left her eyes. Perhaps, she said, not all strange things are bad. As if he heard his name, Kira woke. He yawned, showing needle teeth, then looked at his mother. He chirped once. Then he turned and looked at Nora, and he chirped again. Same sound. Same meaning, safe. This one is safe. He laid his head back down on Nora's lap and went to sleep. Nora's throat burned. She blinked hard in that moment, on a cold station in the middle of nowhere. Something ancient shifted. The galaxy had 1,000 stories about humans, that we were reckless, that we were violent, that we were deathworlders who could not be trusted. But they were wrong. We were dangerous, yes, because we endured. Because we did not quit, but we were most dangerous when we chose kindness. When we saw a scared child. No matter the species, and our first instinct was not to fight. It was to protect. And maybe that is why the rest of the galaxy should be afraid. Not because we can destroy them, but because we can make them love us. If this story gave you chills, subscribe to Luna Cub Tales. We drop new HFY stories every single week. Comment below and tell me what broke you more. Kiro's first purr, or when he chose Nora. Share this with someone who needs to remember what it means to be human. Because we are not just deathworlders. We are the ones who stay. We are Luna Cub Tales. And we are just getting started.